Shalom, WJC family. It's time for our weekly Torah Talk. The parsha this week is Kedoshim. As you can see, we are getting along in our counting of the Omer. It's been a few weeks since Pesach, and I have not shaved. It's the 19th day in the counting of the Omer, as I am recording this, although by the time you see it, it will likely be the next day. And I wanted to, as we approach Kedoshim, actually start from the beginning with the most famous verse in the Parsha. V'adaber Adonai el Moshe lemor. God spoke to Moses saying, now the famous one, Daber el kol adat Yisrael, speak to the entire congregation of Israel, v'amarta alehem, say to them, Kedoshim to you. You will be Kodesh, or you will be holy, it's usually translated. Ki kadosh ani Adonai Elohechem, because I, the Lord your God, am holy. And there are a lot of commentaries on exactly what it means to be holy. I was reminded yesterday in a quick vort being given by a quick Devar Torah, word of Torah being given by Rabbi Menachem Creditor, that the sort of normative standard interpretation of this is Kedoshim. It means to be prushim, to be separate, to keep oneself separate. Rashi says from forbidden sexual relationships. Other commentators say from all of the not allowed things, the prohibitions of the Torah. Some commentators get even a little deeper with it. Nachmanides famously translates to be Kodesh, to go beyond the letter of the law. He says you shouldn't be a naval ifnei shurat hadin, a scoundrel within the lines of the law, meaning you can drink, but you drink too much, you're a drunkard, or you could eat, but you're a glutton, and so on and so forth. But in preparing for a Sulam class that we have next week, Sultanama, a leadership training program developed by the USCJ, the umbrella organization of the conservative movement, to help train young leaders, brings these verses and the verse that comes next, which is Ish imo v'aviv tira'u. A person, his mother and his father, he should fear, or he should hold in reverence. V'yet shabtotai tishmoru, and my Sabbaths you shall keep. Ani Adonai Elohechem, I am the Lord your God. And the authors of Sulam say, what does this have to do with Kedoshim that came just before it? Is honoring your father and mother and keeping the Shabbat the two most important things to being holy? By the way, what follows is called the Holiness Code, law after law of ways presumably to be holy. But are these the most important because they're first? And what does one have to do with the other? And what does one have to do with the fact, Ani Adonai Elohechem? There are a number of commentaries on this. I want to share one from Rav Yosef Dov Soloveitchik, which says, Shabtotai is plural, and the Zohar relates that this refers to the lower Sabbath, the Shabbat of this world, and the upper Sabbath, the Shabbat of the spiritual world, and we're supposed to observe both. Shabbat as a real thing on this earth, a day of rest, as well as this cosmic concept of a palace in time that we learn about from Rav Heschel. And so too in our relationships with our parents, that there is a lower relationship with our parents and a greater relationship with our parents. The lower relationship, the reality being to honor, respect, and fear and hold in reverence our actual parents, and the higher one to recognize God as the divine parent, as the divine parent, the one who cares for us like a parent in a cosmic spiritual kind of way, the one who is ultimately responsible for our creation, even if our actual parents are responsible for our immediate creation. So the Shabbat, Shabtotai, and Imo v'aviv, parents share this quality of having an upper concept and a lower concept, and that's why it says, Ani Adonai Elohechem, I am the Lord your God, I am your higher spiritual parent. Ad Kan, up until here, Rav Yosef Dov Soloveitchik. But the Sulam authors take it in a slightly different direction, and it's the one that I actually want to highlight. And that is the question of maybe what it's saying is you should be holy because I, the Lord your God, am holy. And maybe what that means is that you are responsible to honor your parents. You're also responsible to keep Shabbat. And what happens when those two things come into conflict? What if honoring your parents comes into conflict with keeping Shabbat? It seems to lean towards honoring your parents because that comes first. And maybe that's what it is to be holy. Not to confuse piety, the following of the mitzvot, with the reality of how you live your life every day. And the reality of how you live your life every day, how you treat your family, your parents, your children, the people you interact with every day, is in fact even more important than the acts between you and God, like keeping the Shabbat. Right? So we would call these mitzvot ben adam lechavero, between people and other people, and bein adam lemakom, people and God. And by explaining that the parents come first, is saying that bein adam lechavero, between people and people, that is what is primary, and that's how you are kodesh. All right, that's what it means to be more than just keep the law. Keeping the law means preserving your relationship with God. Being kodesh means preserving your relationship with God while preserving your relationship with other people and prioritizing the most important people and the most important relationships in your life. But there's a catch, because you may recognize that honoring your parents is one of the 10 commandments. And you've often seen the 10 commandments set up 5 and 5, right? 2 tablets, 5 on one side, 5 on the other. It is often said that the commandments or the utterances on the first tablet of the Aseret, of the 10 commandments are between man and God, bein adam makom, right? I am the Lord your God, have no gods before me, don't create idols, keep my Sabbaths, and honor your father and mother. The other side are ben adam lechavero, right? Don't steal, don't commit adultery, don't murder, don't bear false witness, don't covet. So, but the problem is parents are people. They seem to be on the wrong tablet. So, what do we do with these 10 utterances, with the 10 commandments, and this command that's reiterated here that seems to be on the wrong side? And the answer is that the rabbis teach us that, in fact, this honor your father and your mother, it's a little bit of both, right? That, yes, we honor our father and mother because they are among the most important people in our lives. But also that's actually ben adam lemakom, because our fathers and mothers as our creators represent that divine act of creation for which God is responsible. Hence this, Ani Adonai Elohechem, I am the Lord your God. And so the truth is that it's not different. This conflict we sense between keeping our Shabbats and valuing the people in our lives, especially the most important people like parents and children and spouses, they might seem like they come into conflict, but there's in fact no conflict at all. That in fact, it's the same. And honoring our parents is honoring God. And I would say the same for honoring other people in our lives, our children, our spouses, the people we interact with every day. On their faces, we see the image of God, right? They are made b'tselem Elohim, in the divine image. And therefore, it's actually all one thing. Yes, the mitzvot bein adam lechavero, between us and other people, they take primacy when it comes to being kodesh, to living a sanctified life. Not because people are more important than piety, although we might argue that to be the case, but because treating the people well is pious, because the people are representatives of God in the world. They are the images, the manifestations of the divine in the world. And we remember that when we live our lives, putting people first and understanding that that is the lens, that is the archway through which we can live a pious life, not antithetical to living a pious life, that's when we can really live Kodesh. That's when we will be living up to Kedoshim to you. You shall be holy, ki kadosh ani Adonai Elohechem, because I, the Lord your God, am holy. May we all live that kind of holy life, respecting the people in our lives, keeping ourselves separate, but not separate from people, not separate from individual in particular acts, but separate from false piety, separate from putting God before people, not recognizing that it is in the people where we experience God each and every day. May we have appreciation for that. May we live that kind of life. I wish you a Shabbat Shalom.